Yeah, so now over to the answer to the fairly simple exercise, just a few different sensitivities, three different sensitivities. So a single stage process, a two-stage process, and a three-stage process. Okay, but the composition has to be the same. That was what was conveyed in the exercise that you see to the left there. The important thing was that we remember that we used the full fluid composition right here. So we changed from the API to GOR method by copying the composition right here to the left in here, or to the right into the full composition method. Okay, we saw that the phase envelope was the same, so the fluid is the same. We produce the same fluid, but the surface process is changing right here. And we also talked about that we had to go into the black hole table view, and for the process that was there by default, we had a formation volume factor of 1.52. The GOR was 1,000. That was what we inputted, and then we had a viscosity of 0.474. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Okay. The second, so I've cheated a little bit, but I'll just convince you. And or here, what's important to emphasize is that we're using this two-stage process that we see here, while our other exercises was to look at the same case. So again, it's the same composition, but now we have a single-stage process right here. And we see that the formation volume factor has changed. It's gone up quite significantly, actually. And the same with the GORs. And that's just something that you can keep in mind, that the GORs and formation volume factors, if one of them increase, both of them typically increase. Okay, and then to a three-stage process. Now we actually paid for an additional separator, and we can see if that in this case helped us significantly with our production or our formation volume factors. Alrighty, so just to make this a little bit more pretty right here, maybe make it something like this. We can see that the first thing with the viscosities being the same, so the viscosities are obviously process independent, okay, for the same reservoir fluid. We see that the GORs, they change when we change the surface process. Going to a single stage process actually have a very big impact here. We get 1100 scuffs per barrel. The formation volume factor is equally changing a lot to 1.6 reservoir barrels per stock tank barrels. Okay, and we see that when we add an additional stage, we get a smaller formation volume factor, and when we add an additional stage again, we get a little bit of a smaller formation volume factor yet again. And typically the problem that we're up against is that we, is it worth to add an additional separator stage to our process such that we can get the incremental amount of liquids out, because we make more money selling liquids than gas, and in that respect, a lower formation volume factor is considered to be better, right? So that, because that's correlated with the lower GOR, which means that we're getting more gas or more oil out of the same amount of fluid versus gas, which is typically worth much less than oil. Very good. One last thing I'll just mention here is that we see these differences, and the differences here are, they are definitely significant between, especially the first to second stage. That's where you see the biggest difference. I would like to emphasize, however, that these differences would be even more important, and the difference between adding a stage, for instance, or adding a third stage would be more important for volatile fluids, so for more volatile oils, for instance, near critical fluids, gas condensates and lean gas condensates, it can be really, really important to optimize your surface facilities. So that's just something to keep in mind, that this is kind of like a lower case when it comes to the sensitivities of the surface process, since we're here dealing with something that's probably by definition a black oil. But if we go into something more volatile, something leaner, these changes would be more dramatic for the same change of surface process. So I just wanted to mention that, and thanks again for doing the exercise.